Peace, peace, peace. Peace, love, and light to the collective. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? Who in here? Who in here? Today, I didn't want to get into the conspiracies or the aliens. Today is about healing. Healing yourself, loving yourself, and healing yourself. And loving yourself and healing yourself goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. You can't heal yourself until you love yourself. And you can't love yourself until you heal yourself. And what I mean by healing yourself is like forgiving yourself and forgiving others. Raw dogs. I never heard of that. Unless you're talking about like the sexual act, not using protection. That's the only raw dogs I heard of. What do you mean? Is that what you talking about? Because that's not what we on. Nah, the rapper, Raw Dog. Nah, I never heard of him. From the 2000s? I never where's he from? What was he rapping about? The rapper Raw Dogs? Never heard of him. What was he rapping about? Where's he from? Somewhere in New York? Nah, never heard of him. Never heard of him. But yeah, today's topic is about loving yourself and healing yourself. Today is about healing. Um, that's why I asked. Oh, okay. Nah, you good, beloved. You good. I never heard of him though. I thought it was like some conspiracy. I thought he like went crazy or joined the Illuminati or something like that. You know what I mean? But nah, I honestly never heard of him. And he's from the 2000s. That's my era. From the 90s to the mid 2000s. That's my era of music. So I don't know. And I knew all the underground people. So I don't know. I never heard of him though. But yeah, today we talking about loving yourself, healing yourself, and forgiving yourself. When you get a chance, listen to what happened to hip hop. Raw Dogs by Raw Dogs. All right, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. All right, Area 51. I appreciate you, beloved. I'll check it out. Um, and especially if it's like some spiritual content to what happened, because that's what all my content about. If you see something up here, it's me just gauging it through a spiritual eye. When news happen, I just wait for something spiritual to jump out. Everything is spiritual. It just depending on what happened and the level of spirituality or spirituality that happens in whatever I'm reporting. And that's what I do, just trying to open people's eyes spiritually and get people to open up their imagination and get people to realize who we are, what you are, and how powerful you actually are. But you have to believe in you. If you don't believe in you, you can't believe in nobody else. And some people with religion, what happens with religion is people lose, I can't say confidence in themselves because most people don't have real confidence. Most humans don't have real confidence in themselves, but we lose faith in ourselves and belief in ourselves. And with religion is we take that our own belief in ourselves and who we are and what we are away from ourselves and give it to something else. And when you do that, you taking away your first line of defense. Your first line of defense is you and what you think. You know what I'm saying? And even in Christ, when Christ healed people, if the person couldn't walk, he say, get up and walk. If the person couldn't see, he'd tell the person, wipe their own eyes and see. You know what I'm saying? Once the spirit was cast out of the person, he commanded the person to do the act of which he was healing them for. So you can't heal somebody who doesn't want to be healed. Even in the pharmaceutical field, the reason why the medicine, one of the reasons why some of the medicines work is because one, we believe it. One, we believe that it's going to work. And two, we want to be healed of whatever we're going to the doctor to be healed of. So there's two components: the want to be healed and the believing you can be healed. So when we do those same things within ourselves, we could definitely heal ourselves, but you have to want to be healed. You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive others. You have to forgive, meaning, and what I mean by forgive yourself, because people be like, well, I ain't do nothing. You know, I went through this, or I was in an abusive relationship. I came up in an abusive home, or I went through this, I went through that. I didn't do nothing wrong. So why do I have to forgive myself? Well, you have to forgive yourself for your past life karma. You have to forgive yourself for um some people take what happened to them and blame themselves. Well, if this didn't happen, this wouldn't have happened to me. You know how some people, they make excuses when they have Stockholm syndrome, or they make excuses for their abuser, right? And then they start saying, well, if I would have been a better child, or maybe if I would have been didn't cry so much, my dad wouldn't have left. Or maybe if I you have to forgive yourself and others. And what that forgiveness does, it unlocks your superpowers. It frees up energy, because energy becomes trapped in the thing that happened to you. And once the energy becomes trapped in whatever it is that happens, and you become stuck as the abused, you know what I'm saying, or the neglected or the unloved, when you become stuck in that state, you block up your energy. People say you block your blessings, right? But I'm gonna say you block your energy. You limit yourself. You put training wheels on your bicycle. The minute you forgive all of that, the person, yourself, and you begin to love yourself, when you begin to truly, truly, truly love yourself, that's when the healing begins, mentally, physically, and spiritually. When you begin to love yourself, that is your superpower down here on the third dimension, because love is a high vibrational, and it's a light vibration. It's a high and light vibration. So if you want to fly, or you want to float, you want to do anything, magical down here, you have to vibrate from a place of love. And you can do it um through darkness as well. You could do it through low vibrational things, but you're gonna need help. And when you need help, and you have to go to something outside of yourself, then you have to adhere to whatever the contract is, the physical, mental or spiritual contract, when you asking for that help. Like I said in the live yesterday, when you have to give a certain thing, a certain entity, an altar, and you got to put certain things on it, and this being or this entity requires rice or orange peels or lemons to be left at the shoreline, or you have to go to the shoreline to venerate this, or you have to go here to venerate that. What happens when those things occur, and when you're vibrating like that, if the thing has if whatever it is you're doing, whether you call it the ancestors, whatever it is, if it has a human need for your veneration, a human need for food, alcohol, money, you know, tobacco smoke, when it has this need for things just like a human being, these entities and energies get jealous, they get upset, they want more. You know what I'm saying? And the minute you don't do, just like in any relationship here in the flesh, when you don't do for your loved one, or you don't do for somebody, especially if it's somebody who feel like you owe them, y'all know how it is, like when you owe a family member, or you owe somebody something, they want theirs. Like, what you mean you don't got it? That's not what we discussed. I need what you got for me. And the minute you don't have it, it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? So that's the main reason. And I don't, I'm going within me. I'm talking to the all in all, the ineffable one. I know this all in all, the everything in existence, the essence of everything, the force, the source of everything, is incapable of lowering its frequency or lowering its state of being to becoming jealous, because jealous is a vibration, it's an entity, it's an energy. So I'm gonna say God, for the lack of a better term. The God that I praise is incapable of becoming jealous or envious, and capable of needing me to praise and worship it. All it needs is for me is to acknowledge it and my connection to it, if that makes any sense. I know you're there. I know you're in everything. I see you in the brother who wronged me. I see you in the cancer in my body. I see you in my high blood pressure. I see you in my cholesterol. I see you in the doctor. I see you in everything. And I'm going to reverse this because I'm going to get closer to you. And you're going to make me vibrate high and shake these things off. And because I'm a reflection of you, I love you because I love myself, and I love you because you gave me, you know, consciousness, not just life, but a conscious life that I'm aware of what you're doing and who you are, and my veins, my heart, my blood cells. I'm aware that, you know, my children, physical children, my wife, mother, my father, that they are reflections of you. So whenever they do something that to upset me or goes against, you know, what I believe in or what I feel or whatever, I can go back into myself because that's where the kingdom of heaven lies, right? I can go back within myself, sit and have a conversation with you and understand that they are a reflection of you. They are me. We are the one and the same. But they're going through their moment of weakness due to a spiritual attachment, whatever stress levels they're going through. They may be experiencing some, if it's over mammon or money, you know, they may be having attachment to mammon, and mammon might be in control of what's going on here. So I try to have a spiritual engagement with spiritual beings. And what I mean by that, even when they're being physical and they calling me the worst names known to man, you know, when they say, oh, you ain't never been a father, you ain't never been a husband, you ain't, you know, you're not a good worker, you know, you're never on time and you're always on time, right? When those things start happening, I step out of the physicality of it. I jump out of my physical body and I look down at myself having an engagement with another physical being as that physical being is attacking the physical me. The spiritual me is just sitting there just looking at the baby, man. I'm looking at the child, no matter how old, no matter what their age is, no matter how many degrees they got, whether they got a master's degree, a doctorate, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the child and I'm just looking down and I'm like, go ahead, man. Get it off, get it all out. Whatever you're going through, go through what you're going through. But I'm not gonna allow you to bring me where you are. I'm not going there. I'm not going there because I have a relationship with the all in all, and I understand that you are a reflection of the all in all. You're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of you. Just right now, you have a lot of spiritual attachments, and you got some stuff going on. It could be where we at. Maybe we're standing in a place, you know, that's on some kind of ley line, and there's an energy shift or something low vibrational there causing this. Maybe you know, you slept with a woman or a man last night, and they were, you know, going through what they were going through, generational curses, spiritual attachments, mild possessions, full possessions, and then you lay with this person and created, you know, and got a spiritual attachment to that person, and this is why you're acting like this. There's so much that could be going on. I don't sit here and say, yo, this is definitely what's happening. What I do is I just become a spiritual detective. When I see, you know, the window was broken, I say, okay, enter through the window. I see all the drawers rummaged through and everything turned over. Okay, they was looking for something. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. I do my spiritual detective work and I try to figure out what's going on. But what I don't do is I'm not going to defend what you're saying about me, even if it hurts me, even if it upsets me. But it's only going to hurt and upset in the moment anyway, you know, because I'm human. It's like the slap. The moment you slap me, it's a sting. But once the sting of the slap goes away, so does whatever you did because I'm vibrating too high to be, and it's not a please don't think that it's a cocky thing or you know saying I'm better than you or I'm more spiritual than you or I'm more nah, I just don't share my energy in that way, if that makes sense. I don't share my energy in that way. Yeah, there's times where I've went back and forth. I'm human, but I catch myself. Sometimes the second it happens, sometimes the minute it happens, sometimes in the hour it happens. Like after I done sent the horrible text, I'm like, why did I just do that? Now it's stuck in the universe. I done sent it in the text. So forever this person could be like, look, but you said this, Mr. Love and Light, Mr. Spiritual, but you said this. Yeah, I'm human. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, it won't last for days. I done forgave you before this, In the Bible, it says, before you bring your gift to the altar of that particular God, it said to settle your differences with your brother before the sun goes down. And the reason why it says that is because if you're going, the altars where your prayers get answered, where you have it's basically the phone booth of God, right? So before you go to the altar, before you go to have a conversation with God, before you go to have this discussion or ask for whatever you asking for, before you do that, you have to heal or forgive what you have going on with your brother before that. Why? Because energetically, if you're holding unforgiveness and that person is holding unforgiveness, you got the law of karma working against whatever you're going to the altar to get, right? And you have your own anger or upsetness. You going to have this relationship with God and to ask for things or to praise him, or if you believe that's what you call your God, right? While you're going to praise him and ask him for things, if that's what you're going to the altar for, how can you go and speak heavenly things when you haven't resolved physical things and earthly things? You know what I'm saying? Like Christ said to Nicodemus, if I try to explain to you heavenly things, how are you going to understand when you don't even understand earthly things? You know what I mean? So you're going to speak to angels, or you're going to speak to the most high creator, but you got animosity in your heart or anger in your heart because of a discrepancy that you had over $50 or a cell phone bill, or whatever it is you're going through with your brother, sister, mother, wife, husband, daughter, son, whoever, whatever you're going through. No, you have to resolve that. And even if that person doesn't forgive you, you have to forgive that person in yourself before you go to the altar. It's not because it's a sin, it's because it's your energy. You need your energy to send your prayers up. I look at it like Street Fighter. I make this analogy a lot. And I look at it like Street Fighter. For those who play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, when you playing those games and your energy is like this, your energy starts out this long. And if you continue to fight and you get halfway through the fight and your energy stays high, and your enemy's energy may be this little, but your energy is like this. You never been touched. So when you get halfway through the fight and you never been touched, all y'all who play video games, y'all know your energy starts blinking. And then once your energy starts blinking, you be able to do a superpower. You do something astronomical. You become like this. You become this right here, right? You become activated. And it's because spiritually you were never hit. You didn't take hits, so your energy is not like this. You never got hit spiritually. So when you don't get hit spiritually, meaning you don't sin, meaning you don't get charged, I look at sin as you're not giving up your energy. That's what a sin is to me. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I look at it as an energetic thing. A sin to me is a charge, because that's what it is. It's a charge. When you go to court, you've been charged. A charge is an energetic exchange, meaning I'm taking some of your energy because you've been charged. When you go to the store and they charge you, if you started out with $100 and then they end up charging you $75, then you only leaving out with $25, right? So that $100 is your spiritual growth, your spiritual energy, your chi energy, your chakras, whatever you want to call it, your blessings, whatever you want to call it. That's what your $100 is. So if you could walk out your house and keep that same $100 bill and never touch that same $100 bill, when you actually go to the altar, your prayers or your conversation is gonna go shoot straight up. No, you're not gonna get the secretary, you're not gonna get the answering machine, you're gonna get exactly who you calling, because you're at 100%. Your phone is charged at 100%. Your call's gonna get directly through. That's what the Bible's explaining. And that's why I love the Bible, because I think just people just don't interpret it the right way. They think everything is sin, good, bad, sacrifices, blood sacrifices, and all these things that these lesser entities and gods demand, and people don't really understand what's going on. And in order to heal yourself and others, you have to be forgiven and you have to be kind. This is what Jesus was talking about with turning the other cheek. And if somebody give you the slipper, their sandal to carry 1 mile, you carry it 2 miles. You understand what I'm saying? Because When I was younger, I thought that was as a slavery indoctrination. I said, man, they giving us Christianity. The slave master gave us the Christianity. He's saying if you get slapped, turn the other cheek. He's saying if a soldier tell you to carry his sandals 1 mile, for you to carry it 2 mile. I was like, man, I'm not with that. That's slave doctrine. I want to fight. I'm a revolutionary. I'm Fred Hampton. You know what I'm saying? I'm Lil Bobby Hutton. You know what I'm saying? I'm Jonathan Jackson. I'm George Jackson. I'm Huey P. Newton. Man, you can't slap me and I'm turning the other cheek. You know what I'm saying? That was the mind state. But what we don't realize is, opposed to the Malcolm X by any means necessary logic and theory, then to the Martin Luther King's theory and logic, which is more Christ-like in its delivery, is because, brother, we are the same. I know you don't like me because I'm black. I know you don't like me because, I'm a male. I know you don't, whatever it is, you don't think I'm a good worker. You my boss and you look down on me, whatever it is. I understand that you may have a spiritual attachment. I may understand that you may have a lot going on. You may have had an argument with your wife. Your children at home don't listen to you. Some people say that and use it as a means to disrespect the person who comes to work mean every day or upset every day or angry every day. I'm not using it as a term of disrespect to say, your own kids don't listen to you, but you want to come in here yelling at everybody. Your wife don't respect you, but you want to come in here and oppress us. No, I don't look at it like that. I say that brother, whether he black, white, whatever he is, his religious beliefs, however, that brother or sister has a lot going on. I overstand or understand the spiritual attachments. I overstand and understand what may be going on. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to give up my energy. I'm not going to take a hit. I'm going to keep my $100 bill, my spiritual $100 bill. I'm not going to cuss you out and give you 50 cents of my dollar. I'm not going to cuss you out and give you 70 cents of my dollar. I need my 100%. Because when I came out my house, I prayed and meditated this morning. And when I came out my house this morning, I had a $100 bill in spirituality. I'm going to keep my $100 bill because if I go home tonight, after I get off of work and I go pick the children up and I run my errands and the traffic is bad and there's road rage, whatever the case may be, I left my ID so they won't let me pick the child up from school. All those things that occur, I'm going to keep my $100 bill. I'm going to keep my energy high in this spiritual fight because when I go home tonight, after I take my shower and I go in my shower and I bring love and light healing energies down with the water and I cleanse myself and I wash off all the filth from the outside world, guess what? I'm going to have my best to have that dollar bill. Because when I go and pray and I go and meditate, my prayers and my meditations, when I'm asking for, what I'm praying for, what I'm seeing, when I'm bringing into fruition, I'm bringing it directly to the Most High. And it's going straight up there because it ain't nothing holding it down. It's light. It's light. Light and weight, light and light. It's bright, it's beautiful, and I didn't give none of my energy up. Now, there may be days where I might come home and I might only got 80 cents. I might only got 95 cents, but I'm not coming home with no money. I'm not coming home with 40 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents, because I done argue with somebody or I done assaulted somebody. Because you assault somebody, you're going to get a real charge. That's going to be a real charge. And then never mind a dollar, your bail going to be thousands of dollars. If the person sue you, it's going to be thousands of dollars, right? Because you're going to have a matter. A matter is physicality. Matter is what this third dimension is. Matter is what this flesh is. So when we become spiritual, we don't have matters. We don't get charged. Do you understand what I'm saying? Tap in the chat if y'all know what I'm saying. There's 45 people in here. So when you keep your spiritual essence, you keep your light shining bright. You don't allow, people who are getting spiritual attack and going through whatever they're going through to dim your light, block your blessings, let you give up your spirit because you got stuff you got to do. You got cholesterol, blood pressure. You may have a family member with some cancer that you've been praying on. You may have a family member that had got arrested for whatever. They still stuck in the streets or whatever they're going through. You want this new raise, you want this new job, you want this new car, you fixing your credit. You got a whole lot going on. So if you spend your days, right? If you're a prayer warrior and you into meditations and you have a relationship, if you don't, that's a whole nother story. This is kind of for those who do have a relationship, because if you do have a relationship, then you may come out of the house with $1,000, not just 100, because you have a relationship, but waiting right outside your door. As soon as you get off your knees, if that's where you pray, as soon as you get out that shower, as soon as you get out your bed, your altar, as soon as you make salats, after you do wudu, whatever you do, I said voodoo, not voodoo. When after you make your preparation spiritually, the minute you finish making that preparation, you got people wanting that $1,000. They want that $100 bill. They want a piece of it, even if it's just a cent, because it all adds up. First thing would be your children. They don't want to get up for school. They arguing back and forth. They had a bad day. They was up too late playing a video game. You know what I'm saying? Maybe your wife or your husband or whoever, that might be the next one. Then it'd be the car next thing, and then you're off to your way to work. And as soon as you get to work, it starts up again. What you have to do is, like they say, I'm not gonna have a bad day. That's what you do. I don't care what happens. I said this yesterday. I got into it yesterday for we went off topic about Israel and stuff like that. Um, you say I'm not having a bad day today. I'm gonna have a good day. As things continue to happen, don't view everything as bad as bad. If you're stuck in traffic, you know, praise God that it might be an accident up the road. You know how many times I've been stuck in traffic and I get up there and it's a car peeled back, blood, glass all over the concrete. They done, somebody done unalived or got into something. Thank God that you was late. Thank God that you went through what you went through with your child early that morning, what made you a little bit late. You was not late. You was actually on time. You understand what I'm saying? You was late for that collision. You understand what I'm saying? You was late for that mass shooting. You understand what I'm saying? You was late for that shift change. And that one person on the shift change was in there, going crazy on all your other coworkers, and you just ain't all the way there yet. But you like, yep, I just missed. Oh, you just missed Johnson. He came in here, he cussed everybody out, and whatever the case may be, you just missed it. You might not be there yet. You might have would have gave up 60 cents of your dollar. You'd have came home with 10 cents because you'd have went in on Johnson. How dare he talk to me like that? Who she or he think they is, So you might have missed that being late. So always try to see, even if it's perceived to be a bad thing, look at it like a good thing. And I promise you, when you look at life like that, I promise you, the Most High Creator, the God of all gods, the all in all, the source. Listen, when you look at life like that, like something bad happens that perceived to be bad, and you look at it like, you know what? This ain't nothing but God. I don't know what it is right now. I love my vehicle, but I just totaled my vehicle. First of all, I'm healthy. I don't know how I'm gonna get another car. I don't know how I'm gonna get to work. I don't want to be asking people for nothing. And you trying to figure it out in your head, stop right in that moment and just say to yourself, I'm glad that I'm healthy. I didn't lose an arm. I didn't lose a leg. I'm not in a hospital bed. Be thankful for that first. Second, say, I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I ain't cheat on my taxes. I'm not cheating on my wife. I'm a good husband. I'm a good wife. I'm a good father. I'm a good mother. I'm a good daughter. I'm a good brother. I'm a good son. What is it? What was this about? Show me, God. Show me what this was about. Because I know I ain't did nothing wrong. Show me what this is about. And trust and believe. It may be 6 days, it may be 6 months, it may be 6 years. And then it's going to be revealed to you why you had to get rid of that car. It's going to be revealed to you. Sometimes it be instantaneous. So while you taking the bus to work, because you don't want to ask nobody or nobody helps you, especially when you were chosen one, when you were star seed and you were chosen one, no matter how Once you shine and how bright you are, some people actually want to see you down. I experienced that my whole life by some of the closest people, the people that, you know what I'm saying, that's supposed to love you and nurture you and help you out. They be wanting to see me down. And I don't even blame them fully, because there was a time where I was in the streets and I put streets before family. I had times of selfishness, you know what I'm saying, where I took care of some family members and didn't look out for others. And people hold that. I don't care how long it's been. I don't care how long you've been saved, or you took your shahada, or how long they took their shahada, or how long they've been saved. I don't care how long it's been. In the deepest depths of them, they still harboring that. It could have been 20 years ago. So then you wonder why you can't get help, or you wonder why you're the black sheep of the family. You know what I'm saying? Why when you ain't got no car, you just ain't got no car. But when the others ain't got no car, oh, they make a way. They figure it out. It ain't your fault. It ain't their fault. But when you know what's going on, all you do is just keep your relationship with the creator. Man, I don't know why you made this happen to me. You know nobody ain't gonna help me. I gotta figure it out. I gotta take the bus here, the bus there. Ask people that because sometimes it's like that too. You could meet a stranger on the street and they'll love you and take care of you more than people you was raised around. Whether you like me, I don't make excuses. I was a little bit a horrible person when I was in the streets. You know what I'm saying? I was. You know what I mean? I looked out for certain family members and certain people I didn't. You know what I mean? I was one of those people who look for any reason to justify doing something wrong to somebody. Like I said yesterday, I used to could justify anything. You know what I mean? I'll wait for you to do one little thing, and you might do the smallest of the smallest of the smallest, and I use it for a reason to rob, steal, kill, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So I do understand why a lot of people act the way they act with me. I'm not one of those people who say, "Oh, it's just people just dislike me and stuff like that." Nah, I know what I was. You know what I'm saying? I know who I was. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I justify some of the foulest things I would do when I was living in the streets, when I was a street person, when I was unspiritual, didn't have a relationship with the creator, when I didn't know Yahshua Yahweh, Jesus Christ, when I wasn't privy to these overstandings, when my heart wasn't pure and I had all them demon p- connections to me, and sleeping with all kinds of women and running around. I was sick. I was sick. And I could get on here for the next 10 years and talk what I'm talking. You know what I'm saying? People still gonna see me as that person. Like Christ. They still gonna see me as the carpenter's son. Oh man, you Charlie Gibson's son, man. Ain't you the pimp and dope dealer's son? Wasn't you the gang leader shooting your gun off and robbing people and kidnapping people and all this womenizing and all this? Ain't that you? They don't care what I'm talking about on here. They always gonna see me as the person they saw me as. And then God forbid I'm still wearing Nike Techs and fitted caps, and I'm still, nah, I mean, I'm still talking like a street dude. They ain't never gonna see so well. They ain't never gonna see Brother Soul. They ain't never gonna see Brother Soul. They don't care how many demons I claim I cast out, how much I profess that I changed. Yeah, they ain't hear me shooting nobody or shooting up no blocks or none of that. They could go 20 years without hearing that. They still gonna see me as the person I was back then. So I don't even be blaming people. I don't. You know what I'm saying? But some of us chosen ones, right, who never did some of the things that I did, you still experiencing what I experienced, and you've been a good person your whole life. All you did was do great for people, but people just want to see you down. People you don't even know, you walk into a room and they just hate your light. It ain't them, it's what's connected to them. It ain't them, it's what's connected and why he smiles so much, why he's so happy. You know what I'm saying? Why I don't ever hear him gossiping about nobody. How he always got a new car, how he always could find a job, how he always find a way. Why is he still around? Ain't everybody he know dead or locked up? Why is he still here? And you ain't done nothing but shine your beautiful light. And it turns them, and they don't even know why they feel how they feel about you. It's what's connected to them. It's what's connected to them that hates your light. And as I became spiritual, I learned that it's either people run to what I'm saying or they run away. They run to me or they run away. I've gained, hey Linda, how you going on? Hey Lisa, you know, um, Some people run to me, some people they run away. And when I really sit down and have these conversations with somebody, when I see somebody, they room blacked out, they windows covered with garbage bags, they drinking all day, they fornicating, they moving around, I know that they sick. I know, one, that the spirit of alcohol is a flesh-eating spirit. So I already know they under spiritual attack when they went into the wine and spirits store. When you go into the wine and spirits store, you're going to take a spirit that's going to open you up to other spirits. So when I see these things and I say these things to people, most times they're going to run away. They're going or they're going to look at you as the person that I used to be and be like, "Man, he trying to trick me." Or if they're a pretty young lady and she got a drinking problem and she got a sex problem and incubus, succubus spirits, when she resonates with the spirit of Lilith, she has this Jezebel spirit on her. I could go on and on. And by the blood of Christ, we cancel any of that energy from entering your heart or your home. We cancel that in the blood of Yahshua Yahweh, Jesus Christ, right? We keep our force field shield of protection up to cancel all of those negative entities and energies, right? So when I see these things, and I tell a young lady, she beautiful. She like, "Man, Bucks, she's seeing a gangbanger. I don't care." Man, the spirit gonna start talking to her, man. He just trying to hit it. He don't know what he talking about. And didn't he rob so and so in them? It might have been 20 years ago. Then he robbed so and so in them. Didn't he do this? Then he do that. Then he tell on a whole bunch of murders and homicide. Don't listen to him. He's a con artist. He trying to trick people. He trying to make money on YouTube. They gonna run off. Man, they gonna run right off. Or what I'm saying is gonna resonate in them, right? If I'm praying and I'm vibrating high, when I'm and it's in them to change, if they are a chosen one themselves, because we the ones who go through it, y'all. We the black sheeps. Christ was a black sheep. We're the ones who are different. Christ was different, right? We're the outcasts. Christ was an outcast. He was kind of the black sheep, right? Because when he was in there preaching and teaching, they said, teacher, your mother and your brothers is outside. He said, my mother and brothers are the ones who are here listening to the word of God. Meaning, if they was with me, they'd have been here with me. They here late. Don't don't bust your brain trying to bring them to the forefront because of my lineage or my connection to them in the physicality. My brothers and sisters are spiritual. My brothers and sisters is here with me, studying the word of God, learning the word of God. This is my brothers and sisters. And he continued on preaching. He left them outside. They got to figure their own way in here just because that's my brothers and mothers and fathers and cousins, and just because that's them by my physical family, my spiritual family is here. My spiritual family resonates with what I'm saying, and we resonate with each other. I've been a black sheep all my life. Now I am me. That's right. That's right. That's right. And it's because you're vibrating different. You're vibrating different. You know what I mean? And I got family members. I got so many people since I've been on YouTube calling me. "Oh man, you so smart. I ain't know you was that smart. I didn't know that man, you don't be talking a lot. When we be around, you don't talk a lot." I be like, "Man, we don't be having nothing to talk about." And it ain't about a smart thing, it's about a life thing. It's about a relationship with the all in all. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about a smart thing. Smart is books. I got a ton of books right here. That's not what I am. I'm not smart. I'm not even wise. One who's smart or wise know that, man, I know nothing at all. All I know is my relationship. All I know is my power. All I know that I'm greater than this flesh, this Nike suit. I'm greater than this. I'm greater than the black sheep. I'm greater than the gangbanger. I'm greater than the African American or the FBA or the Christian or the Muslim or the children of Israel. I'm greater than that. I am the all in all. The all in all is within me. The kingdom, I carry around the kingdom of heaven. How great is that? How great is that? And when you know that you carry around the kingdom of heaven, when you know that you are a walking temple, you know that you are a walking kingdom, man, can't nobody come up against that. How you gonna throw rocks at the throne? How you gonna shoot arrows at the castle? Man, I got a moat, I got a 50-foot wall, I got soldiers all around this joint. You got to come across the moat. I got to open up my drawbridge for you to enter. All you can do is throw rocks or shoot arrows. They're not going to reach me. I'm all the way on the throne. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to come out my castle and go back and forth with you, sir, ma'am. Judge, honor, president, pastor, mother, father, sister, brother, enemy, friend. I'm not coming out my castle to go back and forth with you because you can't harm me. I can only harm myself by coming out of my castle to have a back and forth with you. Now your fiery darts can hit me. Now the fiery darts of the wicked one can hit me. And what's a fiery dart? It is an arrow that's on fire, meaning even if the arrow don't hit you, if it land inside my castle, if I come to my window to entertain you, you might shoot an arrow in, and it's a fiery dart from the wicked one, right? The arrow might miss me, but it land in my room. I might get stuck in the room now. I can't go out the door because the whole place is on fire because I came to entertain that. I'm in the castle, and it's not that I'm better than you or I'm anything, you know, it's that I am not gonna come down there. I am a child of the Most High Creator, and a child of God is a special thing because we all have the kingdom of heaven within us. We all emanate from the all in all, but we all are not children of God. A child does what his parent tells it to do. I didn't listen to my parents. I didn't listen to my parents. You understand what I'm saying? Christ is my elder. Christ is my, some of these religious belief systems, they go into the ancestor. Christ is my ancestor. That's my ancestor. I come from that lineage. You come from that lineage. If you believe in the children of Israel rhetoric and you believe in the words in the Bible, it's not a religious group of people. It is a spiritual group of people. It's not a racial group of people. It is a vibration. It has to be in you, meaning you have a relationship with the Creator. You speak to your Father every single day, all day. You understand what I'm saying? It's even better than a cell phone because you could be stuck in traffic. I start talking to God. Somebody honking their horn too much behind me, I start talking to God. I might be around, people that I grew up with, they talking basketball. I start speaking to God. I might throw my 2 cents in. Yeah, the Knicks, oh yeah, we going to the playoffs. And as they keep talking about the playoffs, I start talking to God again. This is better than a cell phone. I don't even need a cell phone. I'm talking within me to the all in all. But you know what it's doing? It's strengthening this right here. My force field shield of protection. My macabre. Yeah, I got activations to align my chakras. I got activations. I do activations too. I do the inner work as I do the outer work. There's a whole lot of work to do because there's a whole lot going on right here. There's a whole lot. We got our 7 chakra systems. We got our Merkaba, my macabre, right? And then we have our force field shield of protection. We have our aura, which lines this body right here. Then we have an astral body. Then we have an ethereal body. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on. There's a lot that makes a human being, y'all. Despite of what you may have been told or what you be reading and what you be going on, there's a lot that makes a human being. And when you understand and understand these things, then you overstand, understand, not having a common code. You overstand and understand what they talking about with um this new virus that's coming out. I didn't catch the coronavirus. I never caught the coronavirus. I never had the shot. And I was in prison when it came in. I know you thinking, well, you was in prison, you was safe. No, people was dying in there. People was unaliving in there. It was spreading worse in there because now you're contained in a building with 2,000 people. Now you're in a unit with 200 people. If one person get it, y'all all stuck in that same gymnasium. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was getting. I was in some units where everybody got sick. I didn't get sick. I was in a cell with somebody who ended up contracting the coronavirus. I knew for sure I was going to be sick. They came testing me every day. After a while, I said, man, I'm not sticking that thing up my nose no more. I'm telling y'all. And I was a little, prideful. I was like Christ. When Christ, not prideful, but it's not upsetness. It's like when you standing on the spirit. You know, when Christ went into and he flipped over the tables of the money exchanges in the church, he said, "You turn my father's house into a den of thieves." Right? That kind of anger, like how dare you? You're bugging. It's not anger. It's passionate about what somebody's doing, right? And I was passionate. They kept trying to make me sick. I'm like, man, I'm not sick. You've been in the cell with them. I'm not sick. I done took it. I'm not taking the test again. I'm good. I don't know if I'm sick. I smell. I still can smell. I'm eating my food and his food because he can't eat. I'm cool. Y'all need to come get somebody to get this brother off the floor. And I'm not, being funny or, you know, but I be in the cell with the brothers and I'm telling them, man, you better pray over that food, brother. Man, you better stop. Oh man, the COVID, stop worrying about that, man. Don't you weakening your immune system, stressing. Oh, my family, how my family, all my children, this and that. Brother, you weakening your immune system, man. Whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. Whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. And I lost a cousin. You know what I'm saying? I lost a cousin to corona. You know what I mean? But my immediate circle, the people that I'm not even gonna say worried about, but for lack of a better term, the people that I was when you start using concern, people that I was concerned about or worried about, or the people, I feared losing, when you use those terms, those terms are charges, right? So I try not to use those terms, but y'all know what I'm saying. The people who, I wanted to be all right the most, for like they was all right. I got a godmother, I think she's 95. When COVID hit, she was 90. She was 90. They said she locked out her home health attendant. She locked the door, told the young lady through the door, I don't want you in here. I don't know what that COVID thing is. This woman's almost 100 years old. She locked out her home health aide. The person who helped her, she said, no, don't come in here. I'm all right. She took care of herself the majority of COVID. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say I was worried for her, but, she was a person that I thought about during this time. Man, I came home. She was the first time I seen her after doing the 7 years. I walked in the house. I know what she was doing. She had some liquor on her nightstand and she was cooking baked chicken when I came in. And at this time, she was 95, 90, 93, 94, something like that. I gotta find out how old my Aunt Jackie is, but she's definitely above 90, 93, 94 years old. You know what I'm saying? But so this was like 2 years ago when I came home. She was over 91. She was up in her kitchen baking chicken and she had some liquor and still got all her marbles and scruples. We going through photo albums, we looking at pictures. She telling you who that is, what year it was, where they was at, what happened that night and everything. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I say that to say like you know, I didn't get sick. I didn't get sick. I didn't have a sick mentality. I didn't allow fear to be a charge, right? Because if you got 100%, if you have a dollar bill, fear fear is big. Depending on how big the fear and what the fear could be a whole dollar. But let me just say, just for a smaller fear is one. Worry is another. Stress, concern, all of those things that we say a lot, you know what I'm saying, are strikes against you. They're charges. Not necessarily sins, because sin to me is just an energetic charge. That's all a sin is. It's just those ones are the worst, right? Like adultery and lying and unaliving somebody and stealing and murdering. Those are big charges. Just like in the court of law, it's a big charge. A sin is a charge, meaning the more you sin, the less energy you're going to have to manifest what you need to manifest, to fix what you need to fix. You know, your prayers are not going to be answered, so to speak, because you have so much charges or sins against you. That's all it is to me, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? So loving yourself and loving others is the most powerful thing you could do down here, because that's your protection. That's your energy. That's your dollar bill. That's how you keep your money up, right? Like if you spend 50 cents, you know what I mean? You get your 50 cents right back if you forgive the person in that moment and you forgive yourself and you step out of the argument, right? The minute, oh, F you go F you too. It's 50 cents, boom. But the minute you be like, yo, you know what, brother? I apologize, man. Yeah, but you this and that, and the person could be dead wrong. You know, you right. You right. Oh, you just being facetious. You just because it'll happen. Sometimes a demon will get upset that you stop arguing because it fed off you. It took some of your money. So now it's like a bill collector that they wanna get some more out of you. You know what I mean? And the minute you shut it down, now you know what, you right, I'm wrong. I apologize. No, you don't mean that. You trying to be funny. And you gotta shut it down. The minute you shut it down, the minute the attacks stop hurting you, the minute the attacks stop making you angry, the minute all of those things dissipates and you feel with love and you start looking at that human being as a child, as a baby in Christ or spirituality or in spiritual development, the minute you start doing that, you get your dollar back. You go back to a dollar. You go right back to a dollar. You might even go over a dollar now. Now you started with a dollar. Now you got $1.25 because they talking so crazy and reckless. And not only are you not angry, because anger is what leads to violence, right? Not only are you not angry, you're not hurt because sometimes you get hurt first and then you get angry, right? So now you're not angry, you're not hurt, you're not defensive. After a while, you can't make this up. You become, I don't want to say nothing because you become everything. And when you become everything is when you don't feel what the person is saying because it doesn't even matter. It's a child there. You see the child. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? It's like the baby that punch you in your eye, the nephew that punch you in your eye. You know what I'm saying? Or you looking the wrong way. You was playing with your nephew or your niece and you looked the wrong way and they bash you upside the head with something because you was just playing with him and then you turned around and he's still playing, right? And then you look and then for a second, because you got hit, it hurt or you upset. But then as soon as you look, the baby's still laughing because it's a baby. You have to look at human beings like that. I appreciate you, beloved. Hey, Marlo, you have to look at the human beings the same way because we're babies down here. I don't care how old we are, how old we get. We're still babies down here. And if you ever be around, like I gave an example of my aunt, my godmother, earlier, and she's in her 90s. If you ever pay attention to the 100-year-old, the people who make it to 100 and around, you know what they all have in common? You know what? Even if they have a husband, they may lost their husband or their wife 30 years ago or 50 years ago or 60. You know what they are? They don't. You can't bring them no bad news. Most of them, most of them. You can't bring them no bad news. My godmother, she was, oh, how's your marriage? And I went to go say, she said, I was just asking, baby. I don't want, this was years ago. She was like, no, I'm just asking. That's all. You said it's bad or it's bad. She was just being kind. She don't want to hear my bad news. Don't bring me no bad news. Remember in with the Wizard of Oz? Don't bring me no bad news. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how you get the long age, not stressing over stuff. I worked in a convenience store for years. The older people, the real old people, they come in there, they just be so uh and I got into the habit of, people complaining about the price of things. So that became a part of my conversation. Most people they come in there, how much? Oh my God, I remember when things was this much or things were that much. You know what I'm saying? So when I see the older people come in there, they in their late 80s, and they come in there and they buying what they buying, and they be like, how much is it? And then you be like, XYZ, and they digging in their purse and they looking, you be like, yeah, I know it's expensive, right? Sometimes them old people would check me. They'd be like, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. I knew when I remember when a banana was 5 cents. Now it's $1.50. They like, man, it is what it is. And I'm forcing it on them because I know most people, especially older people, come in there, and I'm saying older, like my age, in the 40s and in the 50s, we come in there, we just, oh man, the price of this, man, I remember when things of this, man, them people in them 80s and they 90s, they ain't tripping about that shit. They like, they watched it go from 10 cents to 20 cents to $1 to $2. They watched this progression. So they happy to be here. You know what I mean? They back may be in a little bit of pain. They medication is a little late. You know what I mean? They got other stuff going on. You think they worrying about uh the price of tea in China? They ain't worrying about the price of tea in China. They got, Life is too short, man. Life is too short. And that's a real saying. You know what I mean? This physicality to be here. And there's so much to be grateful for. So I ain't going back and forth with nobody, man. You know what I mean? And me being locked in a solitary confinement, being incarcerated for so many years, it has made me detached to a lot of shit that's not important. And as my family members, they on here and they beginning to see like, man, I'm not the funeral guy. I don't want to go to your funeral. I'm not the funeral guy. I'm not the Mother's Day guy. I'm not the Halloween guy. I'm only the birthday and Christmas guy because the children, children expect certain things. It's a part of our culture, whether it's a pagan holiday and all that other stuff. I know all of that, and there is truth. It's all paganism. It's all a charge. You know what I'm saying? And now in today's society, we have we have so many charges, man. There's 365 days of the year, right? It's gotten to the point now where every last one of the 365 days becomes an event. Not a day to be grateful that you're above ground and you're still amongst the living and conscious, right? I'm talking about there's something, a birthday, a Christmas, a holiday. There's always a reason for somebody to say to do something every single day outside of the normal workforce, or it's jerking at your emotions, right? It's somebody's anniversary, always somebody's anniversary. Oh, you didn't wish me an anniversary. Now social media demands you to spend your energy somewhere. And I don't be doing it. I don't. I see people anniversary. I don't be saying nothing. I see it. God bless them. I'm happy they still together. And I scroll on and scroll past. You know what I'm saying? Somebody died. I scroll on and I scroll past. You know what I'm saying? There's always a congratulations for this milestone in life, this one, that one, this one. And people will see you and be like, oh, you ain't see, oh yeah, I saw it. You ain't even like my post. It's not that I didn't like your post. It's not that I didn't, I don't want to see you do good, or I'm not happy that y'all together for y'all fourth year anniversary or y'all 50th year anniversary. It's not that. It's that what we're doing down here is we're seeking validation and we're seeking energetic exchange. We're constantly charging people. If that makes any sense to y'all, let me know if that makes any sense to y'all. You know what I'm saying? We're constantly wanting to be validated for our graduation. So we're asking. We constantly want to be validated because our grandchild is starting kindergarten. So we go, thank you, Marlo. So we want to post them going to kindergarten. Oh, first day of school, they dressed up nice. So we want validation for the dressing. We want validation that we're actually with our grandchild on that particular day. We're actually looking for validation. And if you don't get 100 likes or 200 likes, or you're looking for certain people that, when you see that person, you know how many people I see? You ain't see my post about this, or you ain't see my post about that. Yeah, I seen it. But I'm not going to allow you to charge me. I don't got no energy to give. I don't got no money to give away. You know what I'm saying? I'm I just don't. Now we got happy heavenly birthday. I think this is one of the worst things on social media. It's one of the worst things. Somebody has made a transition and we're still giving them a birthday. This person has made a transition and we're still giving this person a birthday. So now this person has a heavenly birthday on social media, a real birthday on social media, and the day they unalive, they pass away, right? And the more love this person is, the more love this person is going to be on social media, because they're going to be like, oh, it was 5 years ago today, this person unalive. It was 5 years ago I lost, and the person might have been special, a beautiful soul, but you always get these posts. Oh, 5 years ago this person unalive, and then when the person's birthday, happy heavenly birthday. Then the real birthday, oh, they would have been this old today. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. And I dare you don't post about that person. If the person who's posting this, if y'all related, or brother, sister, cousin, mother, baby mother, wife, husband, whatever the relation is, and they see you, oh, you didn't see my post? Yeah, yeah. Well, you didn't. I don't share my energy in that way, man. That person is If it's a great person, that person is in a better place. Why am I holding that person here in these quotes and these stupid superficial things that we do down here? That person did not turn, even if they would have been, they unalived or they passed away at 20 and they would have been 50. That person is not 50 wherever they at. That person is not 50 wherever they at. So why are we even going there or doing that? And man, some of y'all may know I love my grandma. My grandmother raised 5 boys that wasn't her own, y'all. This lady did a 9 to 5, still came home, cooked, cleaned, took care of us. She raised 5 men to be good fathers. We all know how to cook. All 5 of us could do a Thanksgiving meal. I'm talking about salmon cakes, apple turnover. Like we cook. My grandmother was a beautiful, beautiful soul, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't do that. I don't do what they do. You know what I'm saying? I don't do what they do. I don't do what they do. And people do it. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't share my energy in that way. I praise her every day. I love her every day. I can't even go a month without saying when somebody asks me why I do something or why this or why that, I have to attribute everything to her. And my brothers are the same way. If you met any one of us, we the exact same way with this lady because she was one of those people, not just for us, just for everybody in the neighborhood. She was one of them people who get all kind of happy heavenly birthdays the day she made her transition. She was one of them people. You know what I'm saying? I just don't indulge in it because I don't share my energy in that way. I love her in secret and private. I love her always in private. And I don't want to have to put something and then, be worrying about who seen it and who didn't. Or I put my post up and, some things you could see people looked at and you'd be like, oh, they ain't like it. Man, I'm not gonna put myself in that predicament and I'm not gonna put you in that predicament. You understand what I'm saying? We have to enjoy the living. We have to celebrate life. Life, this life, not a life that was once here and has made its transition. We have to celebrate this life. And we have to celebrate those who are here loving us and our soul group of people who we're here loving each other, healing each other. We have to celebrate that. You know what I'm saying? For real. Because it's energetic. And then we wonder why we can't heal ourselves. Because we give so much energy, right? You already got to pay your rent, you already got to pay your phone bill, you already got to work. If you have to work, you already have to work. Then you already have these children, whether they're grown or you got grandchildren or whatever that case may be. You already have all these things that you have to do. This is energy or this is money. I'm going to say money as this is an analogy, right? So I'm using money as energy because money is a form of energy. It's the lowest form of energy because we give it energy, but it's the lowest form, right? But I'm going to use money as this form of energy. So there's things you have to give your energy to, your bills, your loved ones, right? Your job, right? Your vehicle to get back and forth to your job. You have to get his energy. Then you have all this other stuff. Funerals for people you barely know, funeral arrangements, the posts on social media, the likes, the baby showers, the gender reveals, the like a gender reveal. We didn't even have that growing up. I'm telling you, I'm just saying this for a reason. Just like happy heavenly birthday. We didn't have that growing up. We didn't have gender reveals. Put some things in the comment that y'all know in the chat that I'm talking about. There's all this new stuff, and people expect you to attend or give your energy, whether in the form of money, a like, a share, a comment, or just to dwell in it. It's all this new stuff that people want me to give my energy to. I just ignore it. I'm not here for it. Right. Miss me with the gender reveals. Like, I'm not here for it. Oh, we're gonna have a gender, we're gonna go spend money just to say we having a boy or a girl. Releasing the balloons, that too. Some people do it on a day the person was unalive. Some people do it on a person's birthday, heavenly birthday, and they go to these balloon reveals. That's a good one. Beasley. That's a good one. You know, they want you to go. We gotta drive 3 hours away. Oh, you ain't going to cousin so balloon release? Nah, I gotta work. That's the only excuse you can get. And I don't mean to be lying, but I just don't be wanting to, go through what I'm gonna have to go through. So I spend a little 5 cents if we using money as an analogy, right? I lie and spend the 5 cents or the 25 cents. I'm not giving my whole dollar. I gotta drive a whole state away, do the balloon release, and then, you know me, I'm a good talker, so they want you to speak. Well, we want you to speak at the balloon, and I'm like, first of all, me and cousin Tamel wasn't even that tight. First of all, we gonna forget about all the stuff he done. I'm not saying that we not supposed to forgive him, but it be the mothers and that's her baby. You can't tell nobody about their baby. I already know and understand that. You know what I mean? So sometimes we go to things just because that's auntie baby, and auntie don't care how many niggas he shot, kidnapped, or none of that. You gotta go, right? And then they want you to say these grandiose things, and the pastors get up there, and man, he might not be in heaven, y'all. These funerals be, you see these pastors, they get up there, man, he might not be in heaven. He might not be there. The pastor don't get up there and say, well, I hope he in heaven. If he change, I hope he changed his life before he got into that shootout when he was over there spinning. Well, those who don't know, why he was going over there to go unalive somebody for the gang and he got unalive, the pastor should be like, I hope and pray that he found Jesus Christ in the hospital or, on his way to the hospital, so I could say for sure that he's in heaven. But we know he wasn't living. They ain't gonna do that. They gonna get up there. Oh, we gonna see him again. How you know you're gonna see him again? Especially if you living righteous and he wasn't. Only way you gonna see him again if you was living how he was living. More than likely, you ain't gonna see him again. You know what I mean? But they force you to put this as soon as they realize the soul is still here, it's a vessel. Hey man, and I didn't even, hey coach, I didn't coach unique. I didn't even get into it. You know what I mean? We still owe $60. Just treat me like that when I'm alive. That's right. That's right. Treat me like that when I'm here. Let's treat each other like that when we here. You know what I'm saying? And don't put these burdens on people, man. I was just telling my family the other day. I tell them more. I don't want a funeral. Don't put me in no funeral. Don't put me in no box. Don't put me in no suit, and don't put me in no ground. Don't put me in none of that. Burn me up and dump me over the dump me in some water, or dump me in a beach or some park or somewhere. Dump me in the water. Throw my whole urn in the water with me. Throw it all, not with me, but with this physical body. Give me back, man. Give me back. Don't put me in no box. And I don't want no funeral. I don't want no funeral. I don't want no bunch of people sitting in there crying about me, crying over me, or not crying over me. Or I don't want to be so thirsty to see who coming, who ain't. Because they say, there's a lot of belief systems that believe you stay here. It used to be 3 days because they used to bury people a lot faster. Nowadays, with all this money and insurance, y'all know how I go. Man, I done seen, that's another thing that's new. I done seen people for a month not put in the ground, and I'm not even being funny, but we ain't even supposed to be doing all that anyway. That was all invented by the Roman Catholics. That was all paganism and all that. You don't put nobody in no box and no suit and open up no casket and people going over kissing all over the dead person and all that. We not even supposed to do that, y'all. that is that was given to us by lower dimensional beings that harnessed our misery and our grief and our pain, and they sit there and they feed off of that. And then when that body's sitting in that ground, in that graveyard, there's entities that, in the movie The Matrix, when the babies was inside those things and they was using that as energy. Well, that's a physical um depiction or analogy of what's going on down here. The spiritual is the box, the coffin. You're all lined up in these graves with your birth and your death, your physical birth and your physical death on a tombstone when you're thousands years older than that. Some of us millions of years older than that as a soul, right? And they put in the time you came into this existence and the time you physically left on this tombstone, and then people go there and they put flowers and stuff. There's entities when you sitting there crying. This is why in witchcraft, if y'all study, I'm not asking you to study if you don't, but when you study witchcraft and Satanism, The most powerful place to perform rituals or to find a spirit to do your bidding is where? The graveyard. Because a graveyard is where these entities dwell. And they not only do they dwell off the dead bodies that are there, the physical bodies that are there in these coffins, right? Preventing your ashes to ashes and dust to dust, preventing your physical body for going back into the ground, right? There's entities there feeding off those bodies. One, there's entities there feeding when the funeral procession comes and y'all putting the person in the ground, all that crying and grief. Those are the same spirits that be around hospitals, the same spirits that be around prisons. You know what I mean? It's like flies. Flies go to shit, right? Well, those type of places who harbor that much misery and despair, there are entities and energies that are there to feed off of that. So they put you in the ground, and then therein lies so and so and so and so. Thank you, beloved. Thank you, thank you, vibrations. Therein lies so and so and so and so, and you lay there, and then ritualistically, we go year after year and place flowers and put balloons, and people start crying all over again. People start crying all over again, and there's something sitting there just absorbing that, feeding off of that. That's how it eat. Just like the dead body, there's worms, and then there's flies and vultures, and they feed on the dead body. The physical things that we see that feed on the dead body, there are things that feed on the dead body that we don't see. There are things that feed on the living body, the one who comes there and goes through this crying and all this phases. This is why so many people unalive themselves at their family member's gravesite, because as they become weak and their spirit become weak, and they sitting there at the gravesite drinking, the spirit into their head, just unalive yourself. Just go ahead, and you don't have nothing else to live for. And then they start thinking about the person, and they feel empty. And so, I feel empty without him. You ain't never supposed to feel empty without another human being. Impossible. Because if you feel empty, something will fill that void. And the thing or the entity and energy that fills that void is going to cause you to unalive yourself or someone else. Yo, vibrations, man. You always, man, you do so good sometimes, and then you come on here crazy. That's how the body jump into you and depressed spirit and jump. Yes, 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 coach. Yep. Yo, vibrations, man. You out of line, man. I told my children the same thing. So, no funeral for me, no casket. Nah, man, nah. Throw me in the ground naked so that I become a tree. There you go. There you go, Lala. Ain't nothing wrong with that neither. Put them in the ground raw just as it is. But they saying now, these new people and all this knowledge, they saying now that, and this is asinine. I've met one of the most intelligent women that I met, and we was having a discussion about this, and she said that, and I heard this before, that putting a body in the ground with no clothes on and burying it is bad for the environment. That it poisons the trees and it poisons the environment, and it's actually toxic to the soil to put a body back into the. Even if there is a scientific proof for this, right? Even if there is, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. How in the hell can this body that was created here, made out of every element that is here, even the stardust, right? Because that's all dust is stardust. And most of the ground and most of the dust is, you know what, they say 98 or 99% of dust is? Do y'all know what 98% of dust, like the dust when your house get dusty and stuff like that? Do you know what they say that 90 something percent of dust actually is? Put it in the comment if y'all know what it is. Because I know y'all know. So if that's true, then how am I poisoning earth and the soil in the ground when 99% of the dust, which is the dirt from outside, and the dust is what? Flesh. That's what the scientists say. That most of the dust you see in your house, 90 something percent of it is actually skin, flesh. So if that's the case, then we know the dust is the ground, and the ground is the dust, and the dust is the flesh. Then how is my body gonna pollute the ground? Unless this is some new scientific shit, and because we eat so much McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Popeyes, maybe that is what's in our body and makes our body, and that's why we pollute the ground, unless that makes sense. Or the chemtrails is going in us, and the poison in the water and the toothpaste and all the stuff that we put into our bodies. Does that make our bodies poisonous? So now we're polluting the earth now because we're unnatural? That might make a little more sense. But shit, pollute me in the put me in the ground. we got all these emissions coming out these cars. We got all the chemtrails and the airplanes flying around. We got all these factories, right bodies dumping sewage into the water. Man, put me in the ground, man. All right, if that's dirty in the earth, well, dirty it a little bit more for me. Don't put me in no box. And the medicines they take, right? Is it wrong for me to want to be cremated? I missed the beginning. Do you talk about this? Yeah, I said that I want to be cremated. I want to be cremated, so I'm broken down to the dust that it says ashes to ashes and dust to dust. I want to be broken down into the ashes and the dust. And I say the water, throw me in the water. Get a boat, family, rent a boat, say some words, take me, sprinkle me off be on the back, because I don't want these ashes. I ain't gonna say me because it ain't no longer me, but my physical body just be on the back of the boat and shake those ashes off the back of the boat so it goes into the water, and then take that urn and throw that urn in the water. Therein lies me. Therein lies brother soul. That's it. That's all. Don't return to that water wherever it happened at. Don't go to the shore and leave flowers on my birthday or the day I'm unalive. Don't sit by the shore because that's a ritual. And there's other things that's gonna answer your call. It ain't gonna be me. Some shit gonna follow you home. So don't do that. Throw me in the water, throw the urn out, and therein lies me. That's it. Don't put up no heavenly birthdays about me. Don't keep track of my earthly years because I'm no longer amongst the earthly. Don't do that. If I'm lucky, don't do that to me, y'all. I need to be as light as possible to go where I'm going and to remain where I'm remaining. Don't don't keep attaching me to that physical body and that physical being. That's why my name is Soul now, and I don't, adhere to the street name and all them other names that I used to adhere to. I'm not that person no more. So when I transition and I'm physically no longer in this body physically, man, it's over, Hova. Don't give me no heavenly birthdays. Don't do it. They ain't gonna do it anyway, y'all. I'm being honest. They ain't gonna do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? My kids got one time to post on Facebook. I'm haunting them immediately. Yeah, don't let me go. Let me go about my business, man. You know what I'm saying? They can do me as they do, please. I have eternal life. I could care less what they do, especially because that's the only time they really show you love. Amen. Amen, amen, and amen. That's true. And that's true too. You know what I mean? I just don't I'm not gonna say I don't care, but how do you say? Like our spirit, right? For instance, coach, like our spirit, we leave our spirit and our essence everywhere we go. We leave our spirit and our essence everywhere we go. So this physical body, right, does hold a lot of our essence. We still gonna go where we gonna go. What I don't want is this physical essence and my spirit that's still connected to these bones and this flesh and that suit that they're gonna try to put you in, that casket that they put you in. I don't want something, entities and energies to feed off of that. Because that's why they taught us these rituals anyway. So it's like, we have if you believe all the conspiracies, right? Because I do. So if you believe in all the conspiracy, I don't believe in them. I know they exist. I only believe in Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus the Christ, Isa, the Most High. That's what I believe in. But as far as all of the conspiracies, I do know they exist. I don't believe in aliens, but I do know they exist. I don't believe in ghosts, but I do know they exist, and so on and so forth, right? So in the conspiracy theories, if you have the Anunnaki or the Draconians, right? or the reptilians, if they're at the top, and then the Illuminati is here, right? Which is the 13 families, and then we get into all of this, the Vatican and the Israel and all of them families, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, all of them, all of this and all of that, right? If we get into all of that, just like I always say, when an animal unalives, right? Let's say a lion goes hunts. I use this analogy all the time. Like there's a gazelle, and then the hyenas go hunt the gazelle down, and they trap the gazelle and they unalive the gazelle, right? They eating off the gazelle, and then the lions come. Then the lions come and they chase the gazelle away, right? They chase the hyenas away. So now the lions eating the gazelle, right? When the lions is done, they call it the lion share, right? When the lions is done eating the gazelle's laying there, right? Now who comes? Here comes the vultures and all the other scavengers, right? So now they're picking at the bones. And then as the bones are laying there, then the flies come, then the larvae come, then all the things that eat the little microorganisms and that connect itself to the dead carcass eats it, and then it turns to the ashes, and then it goes to the dust, and then it turns back to the ground eventually, right? You see how many things fed off of that organism or that being from it being alive to the time when it finally perished? If you could record the whole event from it getting unalive to the time that it perished, there was a multitude of things that fed off of that gazelle. You understand what I'm saying? Well, if you have overstanding of the conspiracy like I do, then I believe it's the same way with us human beings. This is what I'm getting into the burial thing. Because in the conspiracy, right? If you believe some of them, we came here, we incarnated here, whatever, however believe you got, we got here. If it was Adam and Eve and they did wrong, whatever you believe as far as us human beings being here, right? There's a multitude of reasons how a multitude of us got here because we all don't come from the same place. That's just my belief and understanding, right? So we're here and we're in sin, right? So now we have the devil attacking us, and the devil's getting us to send us to hell, right? If you believe the story, right? Then we have karma and the pleroma, right? And reincarnation, right? So if you believe in that, in the matrix, in this system, then there's something, entities and energies, if you believe it's the reptilians or the Anunnaki or whoever is trying to keep us here to keep this physical realm alive, right? So now they're causing us to sin, so we keep recycling and we keep staying here because if we vibrate high enough, we can go past, the firmament and make it to heaven. So there's something trying to keep us here so we could keep them company, right? If it's the archons or the demiurge, they're trapped here, they're stuck in the in this reality, so they're trying to keep us here because if we vibrate high enough, we can leave this realm of reality and make it to heaven. So they're trying to keep us here. Something's trying to get us to go to hell. And then while we physically here, we have the Illuminati or the people who run this planet, right? The banking system who keep us at work, paying bills, paying taxes, paying for lights, paying for water, paying for food, paying for everything. So now we're paying for everything, and they're physically eating off of that, right? The 13 families or the corporation or the Illuminati. So we're getting attacked physically, mentally, spiritually. There's whole different people that got their hand in our pocket. We're the gazelle. We're the gazelle. We're being hunted, we're being stalked, we're being fed upon all the way until we in the ground. And then once we in the ground, there's still an entity or energy that wants to come and feed off of our corpse. And then there's still our family members going to this grave site, if you're loved in that way, still crying about you, still stressing about you, still posting happy heavenly birthday. Oh, this day, this person got unalived or he was unalived on this day. So not only are they still feeding off of my corpse, they still feeding off of my essence because my family members are still stressed. They may not be vibrating high to overstand or understand that I'm in a better place, right? So they're stressing and they're crying because I carried my grandmother's death around until 2012. She died in 2000. I carried it all the way to 2012. I was still crying. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until I got a spiritual awakening and become. Thank you for the gifts, y'all. Thank you for the gifts. Till I got conscious in myself that I was able to finally get over it. But it took consciousness for me to get over it, right? So they're not only feeding off of the physical body, but they're feeding off of the people who lack the overstanding or the understanding to love me and be happy that I'm in a better place. They're still grieving over the person. So now they're feeding off of that too. They're feeding off of that too. So that's why I don't want my body in the ground, because I'm breaking the cycle. Don't feed off me no more. You ain't gonna have no physical place to go cry about me and feed that entity of misery. I'm not going to be in the physical ground so you can physically feed off of my body being preserved in this coffin. Because now you're disconnecting me from Mother Earth. I believe that when we return to Mother Earth, we become back one with her. So now, if how do you say, like, if the flesh is a beacon for spiritual attachments or parasites, or you know what I'm saying, if I no longer have this flesh, if I'm not in a box and my flesh returns back to Mother Earth, then they'll pass right by me. They don't see me no more because this physical body became a part of Earth. I'm not saying they're going to physical attack me because I'm no longer physical here, but I'm not feeding them. I'm not feeding that entity or that energy no more. I'm no longer a part of this. You're not going to live off of my essence for free. We can't live for free. You can't live there for free. Yeah, I'm gone. I'm not in that body no more. I may either be back here, Lord forgive. I may be in the higher dimensions. I might be in heaven. I might be in hell. So no, I'm not in that physical body, but I don't want that physical body there. Some people believe that it's an anchor to bring you back. The Egyptians, some of them believe in the fact of coming back. That's why they buried themselves with the tombs and the stuff that they buried themselves with. Some of them preserved their heart and organs and stuff because they wanted to trick the demiurge, or I forgot the name of the entity. They wanted to trick him and go past him by them thinking that they were still physically alive. So they didn't want to reincarnate. So they pretended to be still alive and trick the demiurge and sneak past him in the halls of Amente, if that makes any sense. But they still put a lot of significance around the burial because either they wanted to come back, they wanted to reincarnate, and felt like they things would still be there when they reincarnate, and a lot of them have reincarnated. They might be Kim Kardashian or Jay-Z right now to this day. They're still kings and queens in this realm of reality. They came back. So they used their physical body as an anchor to make sure they came back because they understood that they might end up in Jupiter, they might end up in Mars, they might end up in hell. They wanted to come back and be kings again on this in this realm of reality. So their body became their anchor. So either way, I don't want my body to physically be here. And I don't stand strongly on shit like that, because when you stand strongly on shit like that, if somebody goes against my will and they put me in a box, then I'm gonna come back just because I believe that I was gonna come back because I'm in a box. If that makes any sense. How do you feel about the simulation theory? Um, the simulation is like the Matrix, right? I believe that the simulation theory is still like, if you see in the Matrix, right? The simulation is the Matrix. So when you see Neo, like I said yesterday, and he saw everything as the green ones and zeros, zeros and ones, zeros and ones, ones and zeros. When he seen everything like that, he didn't see the agents. He saw everything. So as far as the simulation with us being everything, then it is a simulation, because if we are the all in all, if we are God, for lack of a better term, I don't like to use the term God because there's many gods. I like to, the all in all, the source, the ineffable one that don't get jealous, don't get mad, don't get upset, the one that is everything, right? If we are that in the Matrix, that's supposedly the ones and zeros, everything. And we are everything. So if the Matrix is if you saying in terms of the uh the simulation, then it's all a simulation, because we are all the all in all wanting to experience itself within itself. So everything is a simulation. If that's the case, we're still our soul that we got from the all in all, our divine spark is still with God, for lack of a better term. While we're here physically dealing with each other and doing what we're doing, then it's kind of like a video game, because we're still with the all in all. We're just down here doing what we're doing, if that makes any sense. So I get it. I get what they're saying with it, in those terms, but I've seen some wicked stuff with the simulation. There's guys on TikTok trying to get people to unalive themselves as far as this whole simulation theory. They're really trying to unalive themselves. I wonder if they come back with status or as the opposite. Some of them do. Some of them do. First and foremost, if we believe or we understand some of the things that the Egyptians was into and who they were and some of the sciences, if there's a race of beings, whether you call them the Anunnaki or the reptilians or whatever, if we get into that and we believe that these entities are, they say the Anunnaki was thousands of years more advanced than us, right? So imagine where our sciences would be 1,000 years from now, or 100,000 years from now. We wouldn't be so physical because everything is spiritual, and spirit is energy. Everything is energy. So once you begin to understand energy, if they're 100,000 years more advanced than us, then they don't need cell phones, so to speak, right? Their technology doesn't. What would be the best technology? We wouldn't need cell phones if we had telekinesis. If we could communicate from miles and miles away with our minds, we wouldn't need a cell phone. If I could just say I want to be in Africa, and in that instance I'm right there in Africa, I wouldn't need a spaceship, or I wouldn't need an airplane, because I could just say I want to be there and I would be there. I could visualize the moon, or I could visualize Mars, and I could put myself in Mars in an instant. So when you become those type of beings, the spiritual beings, that is the highest form of science. That is the highest form of existence, is to be spiritual. When you watch those like Star Wars, Star Trek, or the Riddick, they have the beings that they call the elementals. When you see the Galactic Councils, you'll see fish-looking people, elephant-looking people, human-looking people, reptilian-looking people. You'll see Nordics, white hair, blue eyes, right? Andromedans, all these different races. But there's always a race that look human, and while everybody's in this galactic council, this person will just appear. They'll just appear, give their piece, and then they'll move out of reality, right? Those are the highest form of beings. That's who we are. We have the capability to be that. If a being come down here in a spaceship because it needed a spaceship, then I know it's not of the all in all. It's not what we would call an angel, right? If you believe in the angels, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, if you believe in these type of angels, these angels and these deities don't need ships. They could just say be and they'll be. They don't need a walkie-talkie. They don't need a gun. They don't need certain physical things that we need. So the Egyptians, no matter how highly advanced and technological they were, they did understand that the soul was eternal. They did understand that when you pass on, you're not physically gone. They knew those things, but they were still highly physical beings. So if Jay-Z, and to get to your question, Jay-Z or the Kardashians, if they are reincarnated Egyptians or Kemites, if they are the Kemites, right? They're gonna come back into a ruling phase because they're physically here to be who they are physically, to take our minds to keep us here, right? To keep the women wanting to get their bodies done like a Kardashian, to say, oh, if I'm pretty and I look good and I go on social media, I could be lit, or I could take care of my family. To make men today not see the beauty in the queens of our sisters with the black skin. They might not have the biggest booty or the longest hair, or all of these things. They are here to keep us trapped. They're here to keep us physical. And because we're physical, this is their realm. So they keep reincarnating with these positions of power because they want to be down here in this physical realm. They don't want to return back to the all in all, if that makes any sense. In the Matrix, when they was eating the oatmeal, they don't want to eat the oatmeal. They want to be the brother who went back, who betrayed Neo to go eat steak. Remember, he said, I know this steak ain't real, but I enjoy this steak. They enjoy the simulation. They enjoy the fake steak. They enjoy the rituals and the satanic sex, and they enjoy these things. So they're put here to give us something to want to be like. Jay-Z got half, even me at one time, believing that I could sell drugs I could open up a record label and I'll be the next Jay-Z. And you know how many brothers chased that dream in the whole 90s and the early 2000s? Man, just get a couple 100,000, go open up a record label, and you too could be the next Jay-Z. You know how many people that didn't happen for? You understand what I'm saying? Or people looking at the Kim Kardashians and saying, well, my look, if I could just get my body done, that's all I need. If I can get my body done, I'll be able to take care of myself. So they're here to keep us physical and to keep us physically here. So when they reincarnate, they usually reincarnate back into positions of power to be who they be. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody like Hitler, for lack of a better term, he might never be back to where he was. He might have to reincarnate 6 million times if they unalive 6 million of those people, right? If he did that, he may have to unalive 6 million times. So sometimes when you see a baby that fall out the window, that might have been Hitler. I'm not, don't crucify me, y'all. But that might be him, or that might be the guy from the Sandy Hook. He unalived 26 children. So he may have to unalive as a child 26 times. You know what I'm saying? Before he comes back in this realm of reality. I'm not one to say who's who or what's what or where a soul goes, because if y'all been here with me, y'all understand that I say there's an infinite amount of possibilities to where a soul goes. Some go to heaven, some go to hell. Some believe in purgatory, so they may wind up in purgatory if they don't do, what they're supposed to do. Some reincarnate on this realm of reality, some reincarnate on another realm of reality. Some are still stuck here, as in ghosts. That's not the soul, but a ghost is produced when a person loses so much of their spirit that their spirit is stuck here. So they're unable to make the transition. So their soul is in a form of purgatory because they left so much of themselves here. Like I gave an example of a CO that we used to hear his keys walking through the jail every night, and he been gone, right? It's because he was a CO for 30 years. This was his heart and his soul. He was an evil person. He done unalived inmates in this prison. So he's stuck here. No, it's not his soul. He's not conscious because he's continuously acting like he was the CO, right? He's not conscious enough to do anything different than walk the halls with his CO uniform on. The same way as the lady from Smith and Wesson, if y'all know the story, that she built the mansion in California, and they say she's haunted by the spirits of the people that was unalived by the Smith and Wesson firearm, right? She built this big old mansion in California, and she spent all her money just adding on to the house, adding on. She became obsessed with her house. She was a wicked person. So she still haunts that house. She loved that house so much and physicality so much that her spirit is still walking the halls of that house in California. That's not her soul, that's her spirit. That dollar that I'm telling y'all about, that $100 bill in spirituality that you spend, well, when you unalive, do you unalive with $100 or do you unalive with 50 cents? She may have unalive with 50 cents. So 50 cent of her is in that spirit, still walking the halls of that house. And the other 50 cent is in purgatory or waiting for her to figure out what's going on, like in the movie Ghost, so she can finally get up out of here. There's a multitude of places where people go when they unalive. Just like there's a multitude of humans down here, races, religions. There's a multitude of everything. For people to say that we all have the same fate or we is one or two things that's gonna happen to you is asinine. Because as above, so below. Everything you see happen in the heavens happens on the earth. Everything you see happens in our society happens in the ant society or the bumblebee society. Life just repeats itself. Everything existence, not life. Existence repeats itself. So if there's a multitude of things going on down here, what do you think when you die? There's just two things that can happen to you, and that's okay if that's your belief. If you believe that there's only heaven and hell, then I suggest you do everything in your powers, in your tenets, so you can go to that proverbial heaven that you believe in, because that's where you're going. If you slack and you believe in a heaven and hell, and you slack and you still lackadaisical, you still gossiping, you still, doing all the things you ain't supposed to do, and you a Christian or Islam, Muslim, or whatever it is, then you know where you're going. And that's where you're gonna go because that's what you believe. Your spirit is in that. So the moment you unalive, you thinking like, damn, I know I ain't do right. Oh man, I hope I don't go to hell. That's where you're going. Because that's what in the moment of you being unalive, that's where your mind is at. If in the moment of unaliving, you're just like, you're free, you ready, you tired of being here, you don't want to be here, man, you might go right directly back to the all in all. Say that again. Post it so I could watch it later because you're dropping a lot of gems. I appreciate you. It's gonna be, it's once you go back to my lives, this is recorded, so you'll be able to chop that piece out. You know what I'm saying? But there's a multitude of, and that's why I vibrate the way I vibrate, and I don't get into religious dogma and go back and forth about nobody because they believe. You know why? Because I believe what you believe. I don't believe in what you believe. I just know that it exists. And if you believe that, I believe you're gonna go exactly where you believe you're gonna go. And Christians, if you know the Christians who aren't devout, they know they ain't living right. So when that time comes, they pretty much know. They pretty much know. Hell, it has to be a hell. It has to be, people have to believe in a hell. Because if that fear of you burning for eternity is enough to keep you on the right track, then you have to believe in that hell. That's where your soul is at. Religion is for new souls. Religion is for new souls. So when we was given these forms of religion and people, attached to them, those were new souls. So the entities, the archons, or whatever you want to call them, the demiurge, whoever you believe is in control of this realm and reality, they knew that. They know there's a lot of new souls here. Only the old souls know better than that. So we can't be trapped here. We're here for a karmatic, retribution. We're here to fix some things to get our dollar back, so to speak. We was born with 10 cents. So we came back here to get our dollar. So when we unalive and we make our transition, we got our whole dollar and we could go back to the all in all and maybe come down here like Melchizedek or Yahshua Yahweh, Jesus the Christ, and pull some souls back and come back down here like, hey, y'all, listen, look, I was here already. I'm telling you what's going on. Let's go back. Come on now. Let's go back to the all in all. You might be the Morpheus and teach Neo. You might have to come teach Neo how to get out of here. That's all the Matrix was. He had to become back one with the all in all. And he was only one. It's not going to be a lot. There's only going to be a few, y'all. There's only going to be a few. Agent Smith is the demiurge. The Oracle is the demiurge. The architect, they all are demiurge. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. If you watch Agent Smith, he was nothing. It's the same as what I be telling y'all about spiritual attachments. When I say, when Christ turned to Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan," he called him Satan because just like in the movie The Matrix, if you remember, when Agent Smith would chase Neo or the others that was free, right? The children of Zion, right? When they would chase them, they could jump into people. If they was running, they could jump into the person right next to them. You run past that person, you get on the bus, they turn into the bus driver. What that's telling you is they're the demiurge. They're connected to this. This is their realm. So the minute they touch the bus driver becomes the agent. This is why Christ said, "Get behind me, Satan," because he saw, just like in the movie The Matrix, he saw that Peter turned into the agent, turned into Satan. That's why he said to Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan," because he knew that I'm not talking to Peter. Peter just turned into Agent Smith, right? He was Neo. Jesus Christ was Neo, and he saw that the Agent Smith jumped into him and he spoke to the agent, even though he still had the face of Peter. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? And this is what goes on down here. This is why I don't go back and forth with human beings. Because I already know. Agent Smith. I already see you as Agent Smith. I already know who you is. I already see you. And I say, "Get thee behind me, Satan." I know what you here for. That's why Christ looked at Judas and said, they was all eating. He was like, "Do what you came here to do." He knew. He said, "Oh, he just turned into Agent Smith. The devil just came into Judas and he's about to betray me." He said, "Do what you came here to do." And he said he got up, and everybody at the table was like, "What are you talking about?" They ain't see he just turned into Agent Smith. So when Judas got up, it said in the book, it said, and then what? Satan entered him, Agent Smith. He went, he betrayed Jesus. When he locked Jesus up, what he go do, y'all? He unalived himself. And this is why you see when these mass shootings and these dudes, when they unalive their whole family, and I'm telling y'all that they possessed, that Agent Smith came into that person and Agent Smith committed that crime. When Agent Smith leaves, 9 times out of 10, most of the time, the entity forces the person to unalive himself. And we're thinking they doing that because they don't want to go to jail and all this other stuff. You know, that once the entity is done, it's over. Remember, Aaron Hernandez, the football player. Y'all remember him? He unalived them 2 people. He's a millionaire. He's with the New England Patriots at the prime of his life. He unalived them 2 people. Then when he got arrested, he put all these Bible scriptures on his wall. He put 666 on his cell. He said the Illuminati was real, and he unalived himself. Why? Because he was around Robert Kraft. You know what a Kraft is? He was around Robert Kraft and these elites. Tom Brady, Google Tom Brady. I was just having a discussion with an intelligent woman the other day, and I was telling her, she was like, that sounds crazy. Tom Brady told you that his wife, Giselle, would tell him the score, that he knew every game he won when he was with her because she told him he was going to win. He said she was so good that she could tell him the exact score. She was like, what? I said, yeah, she's a witch. She Googled it. Google told her, yeah, Giselle is a minute practitioner of witchcraft. And Tom Brady said his wife would tell him the score before he even played the game and all these other things. And then we call him what? The GOAT. Who is the GOAT? Baphomet. Baphomet is the GOAT. The GOAT is what? The biggest sacrifice to these entities and these deities. That's what a goat is. It isn't the great of all time. A goat, a scapegoat, is the choice um sacrifice to the devil. If you read in the book of Numbers, when Aaron gave one to the entity, I'm not gonna say his name, but it's in the movie The Fallen, starts with an A, right? One went to him and one was for the children of Israel. It was a goat, the same goat of Medes, Baphomet. So when we call him the GOAT, right? We call Tom Brady the GOAT, right? His wife is a high priestess in witchcraft. Google it. Giselle. She admits it. She could see the future and all these things. And they are under who? Robert Kraft, who's from the Kraft family. What is a Kraft? The same Kraft Giselle practiced. So when we see the winningest team in football, I kind of got off topic, but I'm on topic. So this brother Aaron Hernandez played for them at the height of his career. He just went crazy and just started unaliving people. After this, he unalives himself and then puts the Illuminati is real, right? This is what he just watch his story. And he put all the 666 on the wall and he put all these Bible scriptures about repentance and forgiving them. It's because when the agent left him being around Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, who we got somebody named Kraft. Just don't put witchcraft, just say Kraft. We got the best quarterback, the GOAT, right? Who calls himself the GOAT, is married to a practitioner, admitted practitioner of witchcraft. Come on, y'all. You can't make this up, man. And y'all, it's gonna be all the conspiracy in the world. But man, if y'all don't listen when people talking, if you can't see, I can't show you. Everybody don't have eyes to see. Everybody don't. And it ain't meant for everybody to see. A lot of these souls have, there's how many billion people here? There has to be this many billion people here. You know how many people getting out of here and not coming back here? It ain't gonna be 100 million. It ain't gonna be the Bible say 144. I got a whole nother thing about that. But if it's only 144 people, like all these people on this earth, I used to argue that all these people on this earth, you mean to tell me it's actually 144 Mona oversouls, right? That's what I believe is 12 times 12. I think it is, right? 12 times 1,000. I think it is. That's a whole nother story. But think of the Book of Enoch. That's facts. Now I gotta hear what you think about the Book of Enoch and the Nephilim. The Book of Enoch is one of the most profound books. That's why the Egyptian Bible, the Ethiopian Bible is a good Bible, man. The Book of Enoch is profound. The Book of Enoch is profound. It's a profound book. And the reason why they took the Book of Enoch out of there is because one, right, in the Gospel of John, which breaks down what Peter said when he said that he knew a man in Christ who was on the seventh level of heaven. The Bible states this. And what the Book of Enoch does in the Gospel of John, he says that he been to the 7 levels of heaven. This is what the book of Enoch speaks about. The book of Enoch speaks about what I was talking about yesterday, when the soul had two demons on the side of it, when that soul was being judged, and one demon said that it caused that soul to lust, and the other demon said, due to that demon that caused him to lust, I caused this soul to unalive somebody. And that soul wasn't let into the gates of the proverbial heaven. And that soul was sent back to a body that was awaiting it, right? This is in the Nagamandi, and it's also in the book of Enoch. In the book of Enoch, he described leaving earth. He described traveling to seven levels of heaven. It talks a lot about the disembodied spirits of the flood, like without, which is contrary to religious beliefs, that after the flood, they were still here. The giants lost their bodies, but their souls, or their spirit, I should say, was still conscious. It was still here. And they were looking for bodies to get into. And it speaks a lot about that. And the papacy, when you had I know Oregon, he's a religious father that left the papacy. Deep God. He's like the Carl Jung. What Carl Jung was to psychology, Oregon was to spirituality. And they believed that there was fallen angels down here. They believe that it was people who don't unalive, that has a physical body, still controlling this realm. These are Christians. These are Gnostic Christians. So when Christians attack me, it'd be like, man, do you know your forefathers before the papacy took over Christianity, that they believed that it was physical people, like the King of Tyre? If you read the King of Tyre in Isaiah 29, it said, God said to him, you was here in the Garden of Eden. For surely like a man, you're gonna die. You think your kingdom is this and that, but you're gonna die like a regular human being. How was he here how was he here to be the king of Tyre, but he was here during the Garden of Eden? He was here all this time. And he said, yeah, but you think you like a God, but you're gonna die too, just like a man. That's not God talking to a human being. And it's clearly not God talking to Satan, because this was a king. And he spoke to him like a man, saying that you're gonna die like a man. But the beginning, the book of Enoch and the Nag Hammadi scriptures and scriptures like that, they talk about these disembodied spirits. They talk about spirits taking over people. They talk about entities that are not human that live on the earth. They talk about leaving earth and coming back, going to higher dimensions and coming back. The Bible had to take all of that out and simplify it and give it to you in a form that no longer exists, so you wouldn't understand dimensions, so you wouldn't understand real demonic possession and spiritual attachments, that you wouldn't understand that sometimes you are entertaining angels, dark ones and light ones, that everything you think is a human ain't a human. And so when you read, if you don't read the book of Enoch, you don't read the Nag Hammadi scriptures, when you read that Abraham, three men approached Abraham before they destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and one of the men sat down and ate with him, but he called that man Lord. And then when that angel, if you believe, told Sarah that she was going to be pregnant, later on in scripture, Sarah said that God told her, when we know that that was a man eating that told her that. Yeah, he called him Lord. Abraham called him Lord. The other two men that went to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, they called them Lord as well. But later interpretations, they said it was God. Just like the entity in the burning bush. It wasn't God, it was an entity, but they called it God. Just like when Joshua came upon, after they unalived Moses and they went into the promised land, Joshua said he saw a man and he drew his sword. And he said to the man, are you with me or are you against me? And it said that turned to him and said, I am that I am. Take your shoes off, like he told Moses to take his shoes off at the burning bush. He said, because where you stand is on loyal, is on sacred ground. He said, are you with me or against? He said, I am neither. I am the one who spoke to Moses in the bush. This was a person. He had a sword. He was standing there just like he was standing there. But Joshua began to call him Lord, and he said they praised him there because he said, this is where I met what? God. But it wasn't God. It was an entity. It was a being. It was an angel. Whether it was a winged angel or it was a being that it had to look just like him, just like the ones who destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. They looked just like them. Jacob wrestled with, it said he wrestled with God, but what was it? It was a man just like him, but he called him God and called him Lord. And then in the book of Hosea, when it spoke about it, it said, for he contended with an angel, but surely did not die. But some people say he wrestled with who? God. Because these angels were what? Gods. But if you don't read the Nag Hammadi, if you don't read the book of Enoch, you won't be able to disseminate the two. Never came in a human form. Well, kinda, because Yahweh is in us all. It's in us all. So yeah and no. Yeah and no. Yeah and no. But I appreciate y'all. Uh I don't like getting off the live when things is going this good. You know, the spirit start flowing. And I appreciate y'all. God came down. No, but that's what some people say, that it was God who came down and ate with Abraham. It was three men. Two went to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. One sat and ate with Abraham and Sarah, and that's when he told Sarah that she was gonna be pregnant, and she laughed and she said, "I'm too old to have a baby." And he said, "Yo, you gonna have a baby." Later on down in scripture, it said that God told her. And when you ask, people who read the Torah or people who read, the Bible, and you say, well, God didn't tell her that being that ate that man, because it was three men. It says it. The first thing he says, and I think it's chapter 19 of Genesis, it said Abraham saw three men approaching, and he said, "My lords." And then they told him, "No, we're going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah." And two of them went to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. One sat with Abraham and ate with him, and told Sarah that she was going to be pregnant, and she laughed and said, "My Lord, how am I going to be pregnant when I'm a woman of old age?" And she ended up having a child, right? Isaac. She ended up having Isaac. But down the road, it said that God told her that. But when it clearly states in the Bible that that man told her that. But when you ask Christians and theologians, they're going to say because the angel was the messenger of God, that's as good as God telling her. But you see how it could get misconstrued? If scriptures say God told her that, if somebody didn't overstand or they took out the fact that it say men, because I think a couple Bibles, it don't say men. Most of the Bibles, it does say men. The Torah, it says men. The oldest scriptures, the Vulgate, the Septuagint says men, a man. The newer ones don't say men, but it says a man. You see how things can get misconstrued? You see how if it says that Jacob or Israel contended with God, he wrestled with God. Some Bibles say he wrestled with God. But the same Bible that say God, when you go to the book of Hosea, I think the 3rd chapter, it says he contended with an angel. Most Bibles say it'll say God, and then it'll say that it was an angel. Then they named him Israel, because it says I contended with men and God. And people take it as the wrestling they did that night was him contending with God. So there's points where God is a God, and then there's points where God is a man or an angel. There's numerous points. I could go on and on and on, y'all. Hey, Carla, I'm about to get off of here. I apologize. And that's how there's different dominations. Yeah, because it's all the dominations come from a separation in belief. Once one person say, "Oh, faith is more powerful than works," acts is more powerful than works, then the church separate. Some people say, "Oh, the baptism is not necessary," and some people say, "Oh, baptism is necessary." Then the church separates. Then when some people say Mary is just as important as Jesus, then we got, you know what I'm saying? It goes on and on and on. Once there's a dissension, then you got another denomination. The minute that happened, there's another denomination. But when you get to the root of, for lack of a, I'm gonna say Christianity, but we all know Christ wasn't a Christian. So after Christ came here, and then people began to try to digest and understand and understand what he taught, there was a group of people called the Essenes who already was talking about Christ coming down here, or the Yahweh Yahweh Shai and more of the all in all coming into a human being to show us how to become back spiritual beings and how to do our powers, how to cast out demons, how to walk on water, how not to have to eat every day, how not to have to sleep. There's someone coming that's going to show us more highly vibrational things. That's why the Magi, the three magicians, right? The Magi who was with Herod, they already knew he was coming. They already knew he was coming. There was the Essenes knew this. So I say that to say this: the Essenes never became Christians. They never became Christians because they understood who Yahweh Shai, Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus the Christ. They knew who he was already. They knew who he was, and they knew who they were. You understand what I'm saying? So his teachers wasn't foreign to him. But after, I'm not gonna say they unalived him, but after that had happened and he got up out of here, the same people who walked with him every day who still, right? Because not Paul didn't walk with him, but Peter and the disciples walked with him every day. Peter walked with him every day. He said, I'm going to build my church on this rock, which is Peter, from you, Peter. What did Peter do? Peter denied him 3 times. Nah, I ain't with him. This is what the church was built on, lack of understanding. So after he was gone, you think for 1 second the people who walked with him and saw all the shit that he did and still denied him and still did wrong and still, you think for 1 second they was gonna say the law, right? The only thing they could do was worship him because they had no understanding and they was there with him. What do you think we're gonna do now 2,000 years later, when the people who walked with him still didn't fully understand what they had going? Did they have power? Yeah, he gave them power, so they was able to cast out demons. They was able to do the things that they was able to do, and through their martyrism, because they was all martyrs. When they became martyrs, they got their slice of heaven, but their mind still was warped. After he came, they still was like, yo, you still here? You back? Yeah, I'm here. Didn't I tell you I was gonna be here? I was with you all this time doing all this stuff in front of you. You still don't believe. They still didn't believe. He ascended and they still didn't believe. So that's why they became Christians. Because now they was like, yo, he really was that. Yo, we Christians. He wasn't a Christian. He never told them to be Christians. He never told them to be Christians. He never said that. He was not a Christian. The church of Antioch was the first church, and that was like 60 years after, you know, his physical body, was unalived or whatever the case may be. When he made that transition in front of him, the church of Antioch was like 60 years later. It was a long time later. You know what I'm saying? So they misunderstood. And then when we get into why we don't got a lot of scriptures, man, Constantine put that people together, and before Constantine, because before the Council of Nicaea in 325, there was a Council of Trent, I believe, that like 100 years after Christ, there was a other council where they took things out. So by the time the Council of Nicaea came in 325 with Constantine, when he summoned all the bishops and put everything together, man, it had already been pillaged. You know what I mean? And then you had these pagans who gave it to the papacy, and then they put all the paganism in it and they mixed it up in it. And then they put all these cathedrals on top of these these I forgot, I don't know what you call them when they got these the places where they venerate Zeus and Hera and Astarte and all of this. They erected churches on top of these places and just hid it behind it. And a good example of how they hid it is the same way you see in Santeria and voodoo, right? Like how the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans and you know the South Americans, they have Virgin Mary, Archangel Michael. They got all of these saints from the Catholicism, but Michael really represents another deity in Yoruba. Mary represents another, you know what I mean? They're using these statues, but the statue don't represent what it was meant to represent. And they still could do witchcraft using these statues and using the Bible. It's because they using that as the forefront so the conquistadors wouldn't unalive these people for their religious belief, because the conquistadors were Catholics, right? The Spaniards, the Romans, they were all mostly Catholic. So the people, the Africans and the indigenous people, even the Indians wasn't even the Indians, they prayed to trees and stuff like that too. So they would unalive you if you didn't get with the program. So they had to use these Catholicism and these statues as the forefront so they wouldn't get unalive. Well, the Constantine and the Romans, they did the same thing, not so they wouldn't get unalive, to trick the people, because the Christianity was popular and the pagans were outnumbered, but the pagans had the money and the pagans had the might. So what they did was they took the church and they was able to make money off of the church, one, and then two, push they religious beliefs or their paganism inside of the religion. And this is where we get the Christmases and all of the stuff that we got here today, y'all. Even some of the eating of the bread, eating Christ's flesh, and all of that shit. And that all that stuff was existed before Christ, eating the flesh of the deity and drinking the blood and all of that. All of that stuff was around before that. The sun rising, setting in 3 days, and then coming back to life, and the resurrection and all of that. Resurrection was back in Egypt 6,000 years before Christ existed. Uh Horus unalived Set, was it Set? And he came back to life and he resurrected and all of that, and the virgin birth, all of these things has already been around. All these things had already been around. They just resubmitted it in that way. And the minute you say those things don't exist, people want to, get crazy, when the only thing Christ was put here to do was to show you who you were. He didn't die for your sin, he died for your skin. Your skin is the sin. He came to show you that you're more than this fleshly body, and you have eternal life. That's what he came here to show you, that he was the way, the light, and the truth. You are the way and the light and the truth. As John 34, verse 10 says, is it not written in your Bible that ye are gods? And then they move to unalive them. That's just like, oh, you saying that you God? Is it not written in your Bible that ye are gods? And it said they moved to unalive him when he said that. Oh, you think you God? Oh, we gonna unalive you. The kingdom of heaven is in heaven. Oh, kingdom of heaven is within. Forget the books, forget all this shit. Christians, oh, this is the word, this is the divine word, this is you gotta go by this. Christ said the first law was written in stone with hands. This word is written on your heart, meaning it ain't about what's written down on paper. It's what's written down in your heart. It's what's written down in your spirit. It's about how you moving and how you living. You can remember all the religious texts you want to remember. Do you apply them? Are you living it? You can read all you want to read. You can sit front row in the church with the best outfit on. Just like he said, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the keepers of the law of Moses, they had the best seats in the house with the best clothes on, but they were far from God. They were far from God. I appreciate y'all. If you didn't subscribe, please subscribe. Um, they use Psalms 82. He never told them to celebrate birthdays either. Amen, amen. I don't know if you was here, but I kind of went into that a little bit earlier about the birthdays and the happy heavenly birthday. We don't just got birthday, we got heavenly birthdays now. People still getting old in heaven. I don't even know, man. But everything is backwards down here, y'all, and that's just the way it is. Everything is backwards. Everything is in reverse down here. And when you study or you have any understanding of this system and the satanic rituals, the OTO, and a lot of things, everything is in reverse. Everything is backwards. The good is bad and the bad is good. Right is wrong, and everything is in reverse. And it's because these entities, these fallen ones, they can't create. They can only mimic and go off of what's here. They can't create a body. They can only attach themselves to a body. They can't create. They can't create a thought to be put in your head. They have to feed and heighten what you already fear and what you already thinking. You know what I mean? So they can't create a symbol opposite of the cross. So they just revert the cross. They turn it upside down, if that makes any sense. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and I thank you. Thank y'all. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I'll be back on here tomorrow, maybe tonight. I don't know, depending on how I feel. I thank y'all, love y'all, and appreciate y'all.